There are over 10,000 species of birds on this planet. Almost all of them lay eggs. So why does one single species control 94% of every egg on Earth? Not the tastiest one. Chefs will tell you a duck egg is richer. Not the easiest one to find in nature. Humans have been raiding wild bird nests for 6 million years, long before anyone had ever seen a chicken. And it's definitely not because someone sat down one day and decided, let's build the entire global food system around this one bird. In fact, for most of history, humans didn't even like this bird. Ancient civilizations bred it, but not to eat. They bred it to fight. So somewhere between let's make it fight and let's put it in 94% of the world's cartons, something happened. A chain of events so specific that if any single link had gone differently, you might be scrambling duck eggs for breakfast right now instead. We're going to trace that chain link by link. And I promise at least 3 of these are going to genuinely surprise you. Let's go back to the beginning. Around 8 to 10,000 years ago, in the forests of Southeast Asia, humans started keeping a wild bird called the red jungle fowl. Here's the twist. It had almost nothing to do with eggs. Male jungle fowl are aggressive. They've got natural leg spurs, sharp beaks, and a hardwired instinct to fight for dominance. The exact behavior that gave us the term pecking order. Ancient Greeks and Romans built entire arenas around this. They weren't farming a food source. They were farming a gladiator. So if the chicken's whole appeal was fighting, how did it end up on your breakfast plate? The answer is almost an accident. Archaeologists digging in Mersha, Israel, found something strange dating back over 2,000 years. Piles of female chicken bones showing signs of heavy, active egg-laying. Somewhere along the way, people noticed something about the females that had nothing to do with fighting at all. They never stopped laying. And that detail, the thing nobody was even looking for, is where this whole story actually begins. Here's something almost no one knows. In the wild, birds are not supposed to lay eggs constantly. A wild jungle fowl hen lays one small batch of eggs a year, maybe 15, and only in spring when food is abundant. It's a survival strategy. Her body is wired to sense shortening daylight in autumn and essentially switch reproduction off. But around 1,100 years ago, something broke. A mutation appeared in a gene called TSHR. Think of it as the bird's internal light switch for the seasons. In birds carrying this mutation, the switch got stuck in the on position. Daylight changes stopped registering. The seasonal shutdown just never happened. The result sounds almost too simple to be the reason behind a global industry. Those hens laid eggs constantly, all year, regardless of season. And here's the part that should stop you for a second. Scientists later discovered this same mutation didn't just affect egg laying. It also made the birds calmer and less aggressive. The same genetic accident that unlocked non-stop eggs also happened to make chickens easier to handle in large groups. One broken gene, 2 massive consequences. That's not a coincidence you'd expect to find by accident, but it's exactly what happened. Still, laying constantly is one thing. Laying constantly cheaply is another problem entirely. And this is where the story shifts from biology to something much colder, math. Picture 2 farms side by side. One raises chickens. One raises ducks. Same goal: produce a dozen eggs. The chicken farm needs about 2 kilograms of feed to do it. The duck farm needs over 3, and the ducks eat almost double the daily feed a chicken does just to get there. Now scale that up to millions of birds, every single day, for decades. That small gap in efficiency isn't small anymore. It's the difference between an industry and a hobby. And it gets worse for the competition. Turkeys need more than 5 kilograms of feed per dozen eggs, because their entire biology is built for muscle, not egg production. Geese barely lay 30 to 50 eggs a year, period. So by pure economics, the chicken had already won. Except, and this is where it gets strange, efficient digestion alone still doesn't explain why farmers could stack ducks and geese into the same giant warehouses as chickens. Because they couldn't. And the reason has nothing to do with feed, genetics, or eggs at all. It's their feet. Ducks and geese have webbed feet. Great for paddling across a pond. Catastrophic for standing on a factory floor. Here's the biology behind it. While a duck embryo is developing, a gene called gremlin 1 blocks the natural process that would normally separate its toes. That's literally what creates the webbing, skin that never got the signal to split apart. It's a perfect adaptation for water. It is not built for wire cages or dry concrete. Put a duck on that kind of flooring for its whole life, and that soft, thin skin starts to crack in a braid. Bacteria gets in. The bird develops something called bumblefoot, a painful infection that can cause lameness, and in bad cases, kill it. Chickens don't have this problem. During development, their toes fully separate and they grow tough, scaled, clawed feet, built to scratch dry ground, not paddle water. So think about what that actually means. It's not that farmers chose chickens over ducks for factory farming. Ducks were disqualified by their own feet before the economics even entered the conversation. At this point, biology has picked a clear winner. But biology alone doesn't build a supermarket supply chain. That took something else entirely, and it started with a broken egg and an angry hotel owner. A small town in British Columbia. A local farmer keeps delivering eggs to a hotel, and they keep arriving cracked. The hotel owner is furious. A newspaper editor named Joseph Coyle gets pulled into the argument and decides to just solve it. His solution: a flat cardboard tray with individual cushion slots, so eggs never touch each other during transport. That's it. That's the invention. And it became the 12-egg carton you still see today. Here's why this matters more than it sounds like it should. Once that carton size became standard, everything downstream got engineered around it: the conveyor belts, the automatic sorting arms, the suction packagers, even the shape of shipping pallets. Which sounds fine until you remember, duck eggs and goose eggs are bigger. They don't fit the slots. On modern automated lines, they get dropped, crushed, or jam the machinery entirely. So a dispute over a broken egg in 1911 quietly determined which species could plug into industrial food logistics a century later, and which ones got permanently locked out. You'd think that would be the final nail. It's not, because even after biology and machinery both picked chicken eggs, governments made sure nothing could challenge that position either. In the US, there are two agencies overseeing eggs. The FDA handles fresh shell eggs. The USDA handles anything processed, liquid, frozen, powdered. There are mandatory salmonella testing protocols, refrigeration laws, high-speed inspection systems, and every part of it was built specifically around chicken egg volume and chicken egg processing speed. Now try running duck or turkey eggs through that same system. Legally, you have to label them separately. You can't process them on the same high-speed chicken lines, which means any company wanting to scale up alternative eggs has to build an entirely separate safety and processing operation from scratch. Nobody's bothered. Not because it's impossible, because it's expensive, slow, and pointless when chicken eggs already dominate the shelf. So by this point, genetics picked chickens. Economics picked chickens. Anatomy picked chickens. Machinery picked chickens. Government picked chickens. There's only one battlefield left, and it's the strangest one of all. It's not in a lab or a farm. It's in your head. Here's a question you've probably never asked. Why is eggs even a breakfast food? Why not lunch? Why not dinner? Before the 1920s, it wasn't. The typical American breakfast was light, coffee, juice, maybe a roll. Big morning meals were actually seen as a bit gluttonous. Then a bacon company hired a man named Edward Bernays, often called the father of modern public relations, to sell more bacon. Bernays didn't run a single ad. Instead, he got a doctor to write to 5,000 other physicians across the country, asking a simple question. Is a hearty breakfast healthier than a light one? About 4,500 said yes. Bernays took that medical survey straight to newspapers. Headlines ran across the country declaring that doctors recommended a hearty breakfast, specifically naming bacon and eggs. It wasn't science. It was a manufactured consensus. And it worked so well that a century later, bacon and eggs still feels like a biological law of nature instead of a 1920s ad campaign. Combine that with basic psychology. Humans are naturally cautious about unfamiliar foods and comfortable with what they grew up eating. And you get an entire country primed, generation after generation, to reach for the chicken egg without ever asking why. So here's the twist in all of this. You'd assume the chicken egg won because it's simply the best egg. But it never had to be the best. It just had to be the cheapest to feed, the toughest to house, the easiest to package, the simplest to regulate, and the one a PR man happened to pick 100 years ago. Take away any single one of those, the mutation, the feet, the cardboard carton, the regulations, the ad campaign, and this entire story could have ended differently. Duck eggs could be sitting in every fridge in America right now, and chicken eggs could be the exotic ones at a farmer's market. The egg in your fridge isn't there because it earned its place through quality. It's there because, link by link, it was the only bird that could survive every single filter this industry ever built. So next time someone tells you a plain chicken egg is just breakfast, you'll know better. You're looking at the last bird standing. If this changed the way you'll ever look at a carton of eggs again, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments. After everything you just heard, would you actually try a duck egg?